Hi, everybody. This is Ari in the Los Angeles Noidum studio. And this is Kaylee. She'll be doing weird things in the background because, she's a cat. But we're here today. We're going to be talking about bringing data into Maya and Motionbuilder, whether it's a pre-recorded take that you export from Axis Neuron, or if we're going to be live streaming directly from Axis Neuron into Motionbuilder, how to record tracks for animation. Let's see, we've got Daniel, who's here in our Miami office. Do you want to go ahead and say hi?
Hello. Yeah, I'm over here at the top left. I don't know where I'm at, but yeah, thank you, Ari. Yeah, I'm Daniel here, just here at the Miami office, just getting ready for you guys to get learning with Maya and Motionbuilder. So thank you.
And we also have a guest who is with us today. His name is Gary, and he is an animation teacher at the LA Film School. He's also a professional character rigger and animator. So Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm actually a rigger first and animator after. I'm not much of an animator, but motion capture specialist as well, and also learning about new cinematic tools in Unreal. So, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of cool recent projects that he worked on. First off, let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. So last year, he worked. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so he rigged our robot for the Morav project here at Fonco Studios. So this is a short film in progress that we've been working on for the past year. And this is currently completely up and running in the Unreal game engine. That's fun. Another project that he recently worked on was Disney's Villainous. So if you went to any of the adventure parks over the October holiday, you would have seen their new light show. And so he rigged a lot of the characters for this. The new character Shelly, as well as the Oogie Boogie character model. So those are a couple of cool projects that Gary has worked on over the past couple of months. I hope everybody is staying safe out there. I know these are really crazy times that we're living in. And if anything, I hope everybody is just staying safe, social distancing. I hope you're all able to work from home. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Daniel. And then as you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the main chat window or put them up in the question and answer section, and we'll be able to get to those as we go along. So, Daniel, you've got the floor.
Excellent. Well, we'll both talk back and forth with us.
Sure.
So the first portion over here is just talk about a couple of familiarity with setting up your character for this transition that we're going to call the characterization inside of Autodesk. This is very important so that we can get our motion capture data inside of the Autodesk software for Maya and Motionbuilder. We have two important points that we want to cover, which is the T-pose, getting your character ready for T-pose, and then the characterization side. Ari, you want to touch base a little bit more about the T-pose and why is it important for us in the MOCAP industry?
Yeah, so it's always a good idea when you're doing motion capture to have your talent start and end in a T-pose, because for most animation software, in order for the software to understand the skeletal structure of the bones, it needs to be in a T-pose facing usually Z positive. And so when you have your character in that pose, you're able to do a human IK rig. So a human inverse kinematics rig is the terminology that's used when you're characterizing a character in Maya and Motionbuilder. Gary,
yes.
Could you give us what does that mean? A human IK rig, inverse kinematics.
So basically, to put it down in short term, in a really short term, yeah. Like an HIK system is basically a calibration for motion capture. That's the way I would define it in my rigging class. So, when I teach rigging at the LA Film School, a lot of people kind of tend to step away from rigging, and the HIK is absolutely part of rigging. And, it is the connection between making a character's calibration to motion capture, right? So if you are familiar with Maya or even with Motionbuilder, you'll notice that we have this HIK system, and what it is basically you select each bones and you calibrate them to the HIK puppet tool that they have inside, right? So they have a couple of optional displays in there to make it really, really easy to make the calibration, right? So this basically gives you the okay and the green light for Motionbuilder and any forms of game engine, right? So just to put it in simple terms, the HIK system is only built for a single chain hierarchy, right? So, which means for game-based only material and content. Does that make any sense? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Awesome. Great. So that kind of sums up what the T-pose is and the characterization, the importance of this, and and what we're going to start doing right now. So we will start first with the Maya integration. Just more. Ari and Gary, have you guys had a chance to get into the Maya integration? Just to ask you a question.
For Maya, no. Most of the work that I've been doing as far as the perception neuron suits, we've been live streaming into Motionbuilder.
Absolutely.
And I know enough about Motionbuilder to be dangerous, but I'm definitely more comfortable leaving it to the experts.
Great. All right, perfect. Thank you. So let me go ahead and share my screen so I can show everybody where they can download this plugin. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I want everybody just to understand that in our website here, neuronmocap.com, we have our downloads page available with the plugin. So you guys are welcome to download this right now and kind of play along with us. So you can find the Maya plugin. We're going to first cover the Maya plugin first. And then once you download the file, you want to install the file. When you unzip the file, you're going to have a set of different installation options that you have right now. Right now, we support to 2019. We're working on 2020. So you have Maya options from 2016 all the way to 2019. When you install the file, it'll install into the native plugin directory for Maya. I've already have this installed in my computer at the moment. So it'll, just make sure you close your Maya and reopen so you can refresh the plugins that are in the folder for Maya. Now, I want to show you how to enable the plugin. There are two plugins you need to enable inside of Maya, and that's the FBX, because we're going to be importing FBX files, and also enabling the Neudum plugin as well. So to go ahead and do that, you want to go into the Windows. This is Maya 2019 that I have open. Go into Windows, Settings, Plugin Manager. This is the plugin manager where this is where everything is connecting externally. And right now you can see I have Neudum Perception Robot 2019 plugin. I've loaded and loaded the plugin. The next one that you want to enable is the FBX to Maya. Load and click on auto load. So that'll give you ready with the tools that you need so that we can start doing the integration, the live integration. Another tool that you want to get comfortable with is Maya's human IK panel here. This is more or less, this is a very important, this is the heart of the connection for receiving the data and mapping it to another character that's been characterized. So you want to get comfortable with that. So that covers what you need to get started with Maya plugin for our system. So we have two different softwares that we have available that are Axis Neuron and Axis Studio. I'm going to cover Axis Studio first, and then I'll cover Axis. I'm going to cover Axis Neuron first, and then Axis Studio. So we have the plugin ready to go. And Ari, just make sure if any questions come up, you can go ahead and stop me. Okay?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. So the first thing you want to do is right now I have Axis Neuron open. This also applies to Axis Neuron Pro. What you want to do is go into the files.
So Daniel, just to be clear, right now we're going to cover live streaming. Maya from our capture software, Axis Neuron.
Yes, this is live streaming right now.
Okay.
Yes, my apologies. Yeah, thank you. So right now we're going to the menu for the Axis Neuron on the settings. What we're doing right now is we're going to enable Axis Neuron to broadcast to our plugin inside of Maya. So you'll see in our settings panel here, we have broadcasting. We have two different types of BVH broadcasting. The one that we focus on is advanced BVH. Advanced BVH is just for Autodesk products. So I have the standard BVH disabled and I only have advanced BVH enabled. And keep in mind that port number as well. So as soon as I click OK, the data is already streaming locally to my computer. And what I will do is I'm just going to open just just a standard file here, so I can just kind of just example to show you guys of the data it's going to be sending over. I'm going to loop this file, and what I'm going to do is go into Maya. And one thing that you have to keep in mind here is that on top right in the middle here, there's a little menu now that we added for the MOCAP plugin from our suite. Click on this plugin, and now this is our panel that we have. We have Connect Server and we have the MOCAP data. So the first thing we have to do is initialize the character. Now, before you click on this initialize button, you need to make sure that your Autodesk, your Axis Neuron is streaming. Otherwise, it's not going to work. This is one thing that I had trouble with. So make sure that Advanced BVH is enabled before you click initialize. So when I do initialize, there's nothing that comes up visually, but you can see that there's a net device. Now there's an active connection going to Maya right now. The next thing we want to do is our plugin is able to create a skeleton from the data that we want, and this skeleton is already following Maya's HIK guidelines. Our plugin will automatically populate a skeleton there for you, and then do a characterization. The characterization is done automatically in this plugin, so it saves you a lot of time from clicking bones and doing all the background in there. You'll see that we have a character 1, and you can rename this character. For example, I could just say this is Axis. And now this is kind of just playing with, different sections here so that you keep in mind. We're going to add different characters and it could get quite messy, so we're just renaming the character here. Once that's done, we're actually just one button away from just getting the real-time data in. I have my human IK selected and I can click on Start MOCAP. By doing that, now I have the data going real-time into Maya. So any questions there from you guys?
At the moment, we don't have anything.
Okay, it's so simple, and I'm going to go into more in depth with the studio side. I just wanted to show you guys how it is with Axis Neuron.
And if I can interject, it is
Sure.
very important as you're driving multiple characters with motion capture data or loading intake files to make sure that the character naming and file management within Maya and Motionbuilder, you take care of that, because it's very easy to accidentally have the wrong skeleton driving a wrong character, or if you don't give them custom names, then you'll have character 1, character 2, character 3, and they can be hard to keep track of.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of options here. I just don't want to go through it so much because that could take up another video. But that's that's a quick way to get started with the live mocap. So what I'm going to do is going to stop the mocap, and I'm going to close Axis Neuron for now, and I'm going to open Studio. Okay, and this is going to be the live demo, so you guys can see the motion that goes in here. And then Ari, I can actually give you. I didn't do this on my my quick warm up here, but you can take control of my control so that we can do the setup.
Sure. What can we do?
So I'm currently powering up my suit. And yeah, go ahead and click connect. Let's just make sure all my sensors are connected.
Alrighty.
Perfect. So that's looking good. Let's do a quick calibration.
Okay, give me 1 second.
And I believe my body dimension.
We always want to double check it.
Yes. So
okay.
All right, so let's do the calibration.
Give me an A pose.
A pose.
And S pose. And T pose.
T pose.
Now, for all of you guys watching, I am remotely controlling his computer. So, it looks like we got an issue with the hands.
My apologies. I had the single sensors on.
So, a lot of times with motion capture, it can be challenging to try to run a MOCAP session all by yourself. And with remote desktop tools, this allows us to work as a team, even though we are properly social distancing.
Yeah, so you can imagine a lot of studios that don't have access to this. This is actually the best way to have your team just jump in and kind of do a couple of sessions.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of students from USC and CalArts that are going to be hitting me up for motion capture because I can do the capture here in my living room and then send that data off to them.
Right.
So
yeah.
these suits really allow you to work as a team.
All right, so I'm just doing this calibration one more time. Sorry, I jumped ahead just to go straight to it.
S pose. And T pose. Okay, could I get some finger wiggles?
Got some finger wiggles. Okay, cool. So then once we got the mocap ready to go, we're going to go into the menu settings. That is in the top right-hand corner. Go to settings. And we're configuring Access Studio to work with Maya. So right now, this is the BVH broadcasting. We currently have the standard BVH disabled because we're not focused on that. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and we're going to focus on advanced BVH. Go ahead and enable that. Right now we're sending the data locally 127 as we have there with the port number. So go ahead and click OK. That data is being sent live. And now you can switch over to Maya. So now you go ahead. We still have the character selected. You can click on Start MoCap. And this is, live drive right now. Okay, so if now this is so simple to set up. It was straightforward. Now, what if we want to drive a new character inside? So, or if you want, you can go ahead and click on File. Go to Import. Click on Import, and then you see here I have the first character there. That's a Mix and Mo character.
This guy right here?
Yep, that's the one right there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now, unfortunately, I'm in the way right now, but you can click on the. I'll get control here. So this is live driving bone data right now. If I want to go ahead and set up my character, my Mixamo character, I can do that by just let's see the bone here. This is just a wireframe view of the bone that we for this character. What I'm going to do is to set up this character. I need to set up the information for this character on the human IK panel here. So first thing I will do is going to click on None so I can have a clear view of this character.
So just to clarify, the Mixamo character that you just brought in has not been characterized yet. That's the process that we're going to go through right now?
Has not been characterized yet, correct. So
Excellent.
I'm going to do the definition now. And what I'll do is I'll click on this panel here, Create Character Definition. Now, the way to characterize a character, you can actually click on this panel here will let you map the bones. You can click here, for example, on the panel and click on the bone. And by doing so, it's going to start mapping the character's definition. Now, there is a shortcut with Mixamo characters, and a lot of our characters with our export FBX files. You can click on the root file here and click on a template. I select here on this template folder, and I have HIK. You can see that it's already loaded the prefix of this character, and if I hit OK, then it's going to fill out the whole entire bone data for that character.
When he says root, usually the hips of a character is known as the root node or the root bone, because the rest of the skeleton is derived from the hips.
Correct. That's right. Thank you for that. So now we have the character ready and defined. I'm going to lock this character, and this is the beauty of this. Let's make sure we rename this character. And Ari, can you type there for me? I'm not sure. Just type in Mixamo, just so that we know that's a Mixamo character. Okay.
Right. So the two names that we have right now, we've got Axis, which is our live motion capture data stream coming in, and then we just named the character model Mixamo because it's a Mixamo rig.
Right.
And now the next step is getting the motion capture data to drive the Mixamo rig.
Right, correct. So you can see here in the human IK panel here, we have character and we have a source. Obviously, the source is coming from the axis character, so we're going to go ahead and map that here in this panel and then click on axis. So now by doing so, and let me disable the bone so you can see. Now you can see I'm doing this real time right now. I'm moving around with the character. I can start checking the skinning on my character, and this is the workflow. Right now, the plugin, many of the requests is to record. It is something that our dev team is working on, but we want everyone to focus on doing a character mapping here, the retargeting, so that you can see the character's definition. For a rigger, for example. So this is a quick way to do the MOCAP. Any questions, guys? And I'm sorry I'm not very interesting with the movement, but it's just a little small confined space.
No, it looks great. I think that the fingers are basically everything that I was looking forward to on the second version. I'm really impressed with the fingers, by the way.
Yeah, this is a studio, so it's got the whole everything you need for the character. So that sums up the real time for everyone out there. So I hope I'm not rushing too much. We can definitely, you guys can email us, and if you have any questions regarding this, feel free to email us and we can follow up. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the FBX file management for our MOCAP data. So I'll go ahead and stop this MOCAP. And that covers up the real-time setup for our characters. So let me go ahead and remove my gloves so we can do a quick. We can do a quick capture. Ari, do you want to do a quick? We can do a quick capture.
Just want to record a take.
Yeah, just a quick take.
Okay.
I'll do it with my headphones for now. So okay, so let's set up a quick take for Access Studio so we can send that over to Maya.
Okay. Let's see. Let's just rename it.
Webinar. Yeah.
Webinar. Oop, that's Webinari.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a T-pose.
Okay.
And we're rolling.
Just doing some simple movements so you guys can see everything. Okay, I think that's good.
All righty. And we're going to go ahead and cut.
Cut. All right, perfect. So now we have the data recorded. We can now double click on that file. Go ahead and double click on that file, Ari. And then
want to open it up?
Yeah, we can open it up. And we can do a quick copy of the file so we can do a quick data processing. Perfect. So now we can do a quick data processing on that one. All right, let's play it back and see how it looks.
Okay, give me just one moment.
Sure. I'll give you some time.
And while this is going, just to let everybody who's viewing know, you can download our Axis software from our website. It comes with pre-recorded MOCAP data so that you can test this whole process offline without needing one of our suits on hand.
Yeah. So I'm just going to shorten the clip so we can just play around with this small little clip here. All right. And then let's say this is a clip that I'm happy with. Now, again, we're just going over just the export feature and import inside of Maya. So once we have the recording, we can go ahead and do the export. there's a little button here. Little button here at the bottom right. And this is the export window for Access Studio. What I will do is I'm going to select, first off, Maya imports FBX files, so we'll stick to FBX file. We have FBX 2019 support, and I'm going to insert a T-pose at the beginning of the frame. This makes a lot of the characterization much easier to do, so saves you a lot of time. I will go ahead and just go into a folder here that I created for Access Studio. And so this is a file name, and I'm ready to do the export. So I'll go ahead and click on export. And that was super fast. Next thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and first import a character, and let's take care of the characterization first. So I'm importing our Mixamo character, do a X-ray vision here, and then what I'm going to do is define the character definition. Select the bone, click the template, HIK, and that's super short shortcut there, and then press OK. So once that's done, click on lock, and my character is ready to go for Mixamo. So now what I will do is I'm going to import the animation that I just exported from Studio, and go into Access Studio here. That's the webinar demo that already exported out for me, and then click on import. Give that a second to import, and then you can see behind the character we have the bone system for the import that we just came up with. Now, this is raw data. You don't want to play around with this raw data. There's a process that goes into getting this character ready. So same thing applies. I'm going to hide my character so that I only have my my Access Studio skeleton. And what I'm going to do is characterize again. So click on None on a human IK, do the character definition, select the root, which is the hip in this case, and I'm going to preload a template, HIK, and you can see that it's preloaded for us. Click on lock so this gets locked in place. Rename this character Access. And so I'm going to play back just to make sure everything's good. Nothing's been changed. And again, all we did was just characterization, bring it into Maya, so we can now, just have fun with this on our character. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reload my character in place. If I play back the animation, my character has not moved. So what I need to do, I need to assign the data from our characterization, Access characterization, to our Mixamo character. So I'm going to click on Mixamo here in a character, and then assign the source from the Access Studio character. So go ahead and do that. And I believe, give me 1 second, guys. I believe that happened because I did not lock my character in Mixamo. Okay, so Mixamo, and then click Access here. Give me 1 second here. My apologies, guys, while I debug this bug that I'm having right here, right now. Mixamo, definition, locked, and
just a thing while you're taking a look at that, Daniel.
Yes.
Keep doing what you're doing. But
Yes.
We've got a question from Shira, and she's asking, would you do this process on Motionbuilder as well?
Motionbuilder, yes, we'll touch base, and Gary will follow up on that one.
Right. What I was getting at is that the Motionbuilder process is very similar, and we're going to be covering that right after we do this Maya demo.
Yes. So I'm just kind of restarting I'm importing the character just so that we can get this rolling. Make sure this time I'm doing it backwards, where I'm just selecting I'm working with the data we covered first, with the data we exported. I'm going to rename this character Access. Okay. And then lock that. Make sure that's running. Okay, I'm going to import the Mixamo character. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to select the bone from the Mixamo character, and I can do that here in the outline. And then I'm going to, let's see here, click on None, create character definition, select the root, HIK, there we go. All right, just make sure that the character is there from our Mixamo character. Okay, and then now I'm going to rename this bone from the Mixamo characters.
Do you need to lock that definition?
Yes. There we go. And now I have both datas. I have both skeletons characterized right now. I have Axis and Mixamo.
For someone like me who doesn't know, Daniel, what's the importance of locking that definition versus leaving it unlocked?
Locking, what it does, it tells Maya that the bone system are at 0. It just makes everything at 0, which you want your character to be at a T-pose, all at 0. That's what locking does, meaning that there's nothing should be touched afterwards once the definition is done.
So it'll prevent you from essentially like screwing up the skeleton or something like that?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's a personal question. I don't know if anyone had that.
No, it's
a very common question.
Totally fine. So now that I have the character with the data, you can see that this is the file that's, right now I still have raw file information going into the Mixamo character. The next thing you want to do is you want to bake this animation into the skeleton. So you want to, here in the human IK wall, have Mixamo character showing with the source from Axis. I'm going to go into the bake and then bake skeleton. What you want to do is bake the animation so that you can remove the data from the input from the Axis neuron. Now, keep in mind right now I have the frame rate at 30 and I have a playback speed at 30. So I'm doing this. So watch what happens when I click on bake. And it's going to play back the character with the information from Axis Studio. So now, as soon as I did that, I just have my Mixamo character and no source. So if I want to, I can now delete the bone from Axis Studio. I'm just going to hide it for now so we can just see the, and my apologies. Okay, there we go. We got Mixamo back. And that's where you're going to be, you have your animation baked now. One thing that you want to keep in mind as well is that you still don't want to edit in this layer here in the raw bone. You want to edit a control rig. Maya provides a control rig where you can edit different animation layers. So this is what I'm going to show you. This is still raw data. All we did was just bake the animation to the skeleton. And then what I'm going to do is I have my character selected, Mixamo, bake the data into a control rig, and let that process go through. And now this is where you want to do your edits for your animation, for your MOCAP details. This is where you want to do, your movement chain. So all the data is still on the skeleton. The control rig is gives you an option to fix, retargeting positions of maybe somebody's crossing their arms, maybe somebody's trying to touch their head. You just want to move that information. So now that we have a control rig, you can see here, if I open the Mixamo character here, now we have a couple of factors. This is the controls for the animation cleanup that you want to do. If you want to work with animation layers, this is a little bit more advanced, but I'll just show you what you want to do is select the Mixamo, in this case, the effectors. And you want to go into, I'm currently in animation workspace, and what I'll do is go into animation, and animation, I create a new animation layer. So I will do create layer from selected. By doing so, yes.
Just to interject, this is we're getting into the more advanced sections of Maya when it comes to doing animation cleanup and retargeting.
Yeah.
So we're just going to briefly cover this really quick and then continue on showing this same process on how to get our motion data into Motionbuilder.
Yeah, I'm just passing this along because I see that there's a lot of YouTube videos that don't cover this, but we want everyone to understand you want to clean up data at this point. You don't want to clean up data directly on the bone. This is the section where you start cleaning up. So I'll just wrap this up with Maya, and then we'll continue now on Motionbuilder. Any questions regarding that?
Well, at the moment, our chats are clear, so
Okay.
and the questions Q&A list is clear.
Okay.
So
on to Motionbuilder.
Off to Motionbuilder. Thank you guys for it's. We'll open up a Q&A afterwards, so everyone can ask a few questions there. So now Motionbuilder, we have our plugin on our website here. If you go to our downloads page, we have plugins for, we support up to 2019. Again, if you go into, when you download, unzip the folder, we have different support for 2016, 2017, all the way to 2019. 2020 is on the way. So once you install the plugin we're going to be using 2019 for right now. I've already installed it. And when you run Motionbuilder 2019, you'll see that the plugin installs under the templates device, and you'll see that it's called Motion Robot. So that's our input inside of Motionbuilder. And so I'm going to show you again. Make sure that before we start doing that, just make sure that in demo, if we have Access Studio open right now, you want to make sure your settings are ready to start sending data out from our software. So this is Access Studio. I have BVH broadcasting. I have advanced BVH enabled with TCP of my local IP with a port number. So
again, just to reiterate, this is what we're showing live streaming from Access Studio into Motionbuilder.
Yes, so that's what we're going to be covering first, the live stream. So we'll go into Motionbuilder here, and now we have the tool here, Motion Robot. If I'm going to click and drag on this, you'll see that nothing happens right now. There's a set of tools that we have at the bottom left that will enable the data connection. Now, to enable the connection, we've already set up the settings on Studios. Now I'm going to connect the data into Motionbuilder. So by doing so, the first thing you want to do is click on Online. Make sure there's a green line. If you have a yellow light, then make sure your settings in Studio are correct. Now
just to highlight here, the TCP settings right here, the 127.0.0.1 and the port of 7005 should match the settings in Access Studio when you go to BVH Broadcasting. Now, the demo that we're showing right now, both Access Studio and Motionbuilder are on the same computer. And that's why we're using the IP address of 127.0.0.1. So that's a loop back. It's known as a loop back IP address because you're broadcasting to yourself.
Right.
If he wanted to run Access Studio on one machine and Motionbuilder on a separate machine, then you would broadcast to your network card's IP address, and it would send that data out across the network.
Right. Yeah. If you want to go advanced and do a static IP, so you can have a more dedicated, network to the network.
Yep. But that goes into a little bit more advanced networking as well.
Right.
Just a question on that settings, Daniel, on the Access, because people may not notice, but there's regular BVH and then advanced BVH. What's the difference in that?
Advanced BVH is for the Autodesk products for Maya and Motionbuilder. That's all advanced BVH is. The standard BVH will work for Unity and other software that use Unity or that standard protocol, but advanced BVH is strictly for our Autodesk plugins for Maya and Motionbuilder.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So going on to Motionbuilder here. So we have the connection from Access Studio. We have currently online. Now the next step is you want to enable live at this option here. Once these two connections are ready, now we've told Motionbuilder how to treat the data that's coming in. We want to now start creating the character. Now, if model binding, here we have an option to create a character. Now, what happens when I click on character right now? Our plugin has already populated our skeleton, has a naming convention. We have the real-time data coming from Studio, and you can see that this is real-time right now. And I believe, there we go.
Oh, no, you're playing back a take.
I'm playing back a take.
And it's receiving the real-time data.
Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me restart this. My apologies, guys. I was testing out some configurations there. So,
well, do you want to go live with your suit?
Yes, we can go live with the suit. I am live right now. So let me start off a new project here. Sorry, let me just restart Access Studio. Okay, demo data, go to capturing, and then go ahead and Ari, let me give you control.
Got it.
Okay. So make sure everything's running, okay. All right, just connecting my suit here. Perfect, thank you. So we're gonna do the calibration.
Yep, just double checking the body settings. Good to go. Okay.
Okay.
So let's do an A pose. And S pose.
Mm-hmm.
And T pose.
Okay.
Oh, let's see. Can you check that hand?
Okay, let me just do a quick calibration on the hands just to make sure everything's good, and we can do the calibration one more time. Okay, let's do the calibration one more time. Okay. Looks like the gloves are...
No, your left hand is... Do you want to try powering it off and powering it back on?
Yeah, let's put it back to sleep. All right, just bear with us 1 second, guys.
So while it is important, well, it is possible to do things on your own. This is kind of why it helps to have someone with you to make sure that your equipment is stored properly. You know, they can see the way that you're calibrating, assist you with turning sensors back on. So unfortunately, Daniel's in the office by himself. So while he gets set up, we'll go ahead and do the calibration again. But you know, anytime that you guys are doing takes, especially if you're doing something a little bit more professional, you always want to have the ability to have someone there with you to monitor that the MOCAP, a MOCAP tech setting. It's going to be monitoring the takes that you guys are doing.
Yeah. Bear with me, and I do have a couple of gears with me, so I'm confined space. Okay. One more time.
There we go. Okay, that's looking a lot better. So let's go ahead and continue on into Motionbuilder. So again, with our devices over here, we've already brought in the Noidum, the motion robot, and we've set up the streaming on Access Studio, so he should be live right now. Now, when I click online, first it's going to go green, and there's going to be a couple of things that are going to tell me right away that the link is working. Number one, source. See how this changed to Daniel's name? This is the name of Daniel's character over here in Studio. So A, we know that that connection has gone through well, plus we're getting sample data down here. When we click live, that locks it in to let Motionbuilder know that we're getting ready to go live, and that we can do a model binding. So even though it looks blank right now, it's receiving data, but in order to tell the system where to put that data, we have to create a model binding. So when we click on create, it creates the skeletal rig. So this is a live stream of our skeletal data that's coming in from Axis Studio. However, this data isn't characterized. It's not ready to drive a digital model yet. So what we're going to do, our plugin has this really quick feature to I can check this box so it locks him into a T-pose. So it automatically puts him in a T-pose facing the direction that we need, which is Z positive. And so if you look down here, Z arrow, he's facing straight ahead. And then we can click the characterize button. And now we have a characterized skeleton. And if we come up here to characters, right here, Noidum robot, that is this characterized skeleton. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rename this really quick. I'm going to call it Daniel MOCAP. And then from here, we can go ahead and bring in a target character model and then have him live drive that data. So I'm going to say, Daniel, do you want to bring in your character model? I'm not sure where it is on your hard drive.
Just go into the asset browser all the way to the top where you see characters. Yeah, just click on that, and then you have a character, the same XML character. Yeah.
Okay. So this guy we can go ahead and drag on into our scene, and we're going to do an FBX merge with no animation. And now we have the character. However, this character model has not been characterized for receiving the motion capture data. So let's go ahead and do that. We can come down here to our templates and characters, and there's an option here that says character. So I'm going to take this and I can drag it and drop it right on the hips, and then it gives me the option to characterize. And it gives you your standard warning, wants to know whether it's a biped or a quadruped. We're going to do biped. And now, if we look over here under characters, I have Daniel's mocap, and now we have our character model. So do we have a name for this this rig?
No name. Just give name it as Mixamo for now.
Okay.
Mixamo.
Mix model.
Mixamo. Yeah.
And so up here, when we have the character of the mix model, our source, I can now change to Daniel mocap, and we have Daniel driving the character. And let's go ahead and just show the model.
So I'm just doing a movement right now so you can see it's real time.
Now, Gary, if it's cool with you, we'd like to show people how to record a real-time animation directly into Motionbuilder.
Sure.
So if you're cool with that, I'm going to go ahead and let go of remote control and let you take it over and talk to people on how to record this live data into MoBu.
So, all right. All right, Gary, let me know if you get the control. You got it? Okay, perfect.
Okay, I got it. Awesome. Mine's a little bit slow, but just bear with me. So I think that, a lot of my students, they always ask me, what's the difference between capturing in Maya and Motionbuilder is, I'm a Maya guy, but when it comes to recording motion capture, I absolutely believe that Motionbuilder has way more flexibility for recording. So I think that the first thing that a lot of people want to learn about capturing a take, or maybe capturing just a sequence or any clips, is that we need to focus on these takes right here. These are extremely important, right? I think the main goal is to capture as much animation as possible. So these takes are very essential, and these takes could also be renamed in.
Oh no, we lost him.
So you can even scroll down on your. You lost me?
No, you just clicked out for a second. You said to rename the takes inside the navigator.
Inside the navigator, simply select the take, double click, hold on just a second, or even just right mouse click and rename. And I'll just call this one girl 1, something very simple for right now. And since I already have my take rename, now I'm ready for recording, right? And one of the major things that we want to focus to is the animation layers. Just make sure that we're still on base animation and nothing too complex. So now we have the recording button, and the only thing that kind of confuses some people in Motionbuilder is that everything is grayscale, right? So I'm so used to having a recording button that's red. But as Daniel is right now recording, I'm just going to hit record right now. And it's telling me that there's nothing to record. So let's double check and see what's going on. I'm going to get off the story mode for right now. I'm going to hit record again one more time, and let's make sure that I'm on the base animation. Let's hit record again one more time.
Okay. Yeah, so this is something I believe it's in the plugin.
I actually just record off the bat from right here. Let me create a new take.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to copy the current data. No, let's just make it empty right now.
Do we need to check the box in the device for recording?
Let's see.
Go back to the devices, the Access Studio device plugin.
Oh, the device plugin. So the no inbox, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Double click on that. Check the recording box.
All right.
It's always a checkbox. It's always a checkbox. Try hitting record now and see if it works.
No, that's fine. I didn't see it though. So if I were to hit recording, I'm going to go back to my girl take actually, because I like to keep the prefix. If I hit record, it's going to tell me to overwrite the current take. Okay, that's absolutely fine, but I will overwrite it for right now. And just Daniel, you can do whatever you want, Cool. So I'm going to hit play for right now, and I'm just going to record Daniel really quick. Nothing too complex, right? I'm just going to hit stop. And what this does now, it basically recorded my motion. So what happens is that, in Maya, you do record, you need a recording sequence too as well, but Motionbuilder just is very user-friendly, right? So if I were to hit play right now, I'm sorry to go back here. Boop. Let's go back to take 2. Let's play. I don't see anything. Let's go back. Take 1.
Do we need to go offline?
Let's see.
There we go.
Thank you, by the way. Thank you. So I want to hit play. And so this is the recorded motion that you usually get to as well. Usually, we went offline right now, but I would stay online and get as much motion capture as possible. So usually I end up just doing 10 to 20 takes, and then after start just the retargeting process. And usually retargeting process, you have to basically bake your animation to a control rig. But there are some really cool tools that are very, very essential in Motionbuilder too. So if I were to take a look at the animation that I have right now and just hit play, right, I kind of see that the foot is reversed a little bit, right? And if you have taken a couple of animation classes or have some form of knowledge of the basic fundamentals of animation, right? There are 2 ways to fix this. Either you create an animation layer. We're not gonna, get too heavy with retargeting. You can switch the foot with just through the curve editor right here. If I hit Control A, that will create my displayed layer, right? But just remember that for right now, the character is being driven, right? You can't fix anything at the current moment because the yellow skeleton is driving the original model, which is Mix model. And if you guys remember what Daniel did before, he baked the animation, right? So we're taking basically the motion capture to the model who has no keyframes right now. So if I were to select my character definition right now, or the skeleton, you'll notice that I have no keyframes involved. If I were to select the yellow skeleton, you'll notice that I have so many keyframes that Motionbuilder is literally telling me that there are way too many keys. So I think that the main goal for first take, we're not going to do 2 or 3 takes, but at least you'll know exactly how one take works.
If I can interject real quick right before we bake the animation. So what we're describing is if you think about Pinocchio as a puppet, if you have a marionette on strings, right now the controller, the puppeteer is the skeletal MOCAP data, and that's puppeteering the Mixamo rig right now. So nothing technically exists permanently. There's no animation on the Mixamo rig. So the process of baking, that means that we're transferring the movement from our motion capture skeletal rig to the character model. And then once that process is done, then you can go in and you're only affecting the character model and making tweaks to clean up the motion capture.
Absolutely.
So go ahead and show that process.
Yeah.
So exactly. So what Ari was saying exactly, that it's been driven like a puppet, right? So it is this skeleton right here, the mixed model, is codependent on this yellow skeleton, right? So it's just being driven. It's got no keyframe. It's just being driven. Going through the blue geared icon over here, let's go to edit. I'm sorry, bake right here. And I'm sorry, I have my other screen blocking this. And we're going to bake the plot to skeleton, right? And what this does basically now is it gives keyframes to my character, right? So if I were to select my character right now, you'll notice that I have keyframes. So now we have a bake animation, right? We no longer have to depend on the yellow skeleton for animation anymore, right? You can delete it. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I'm going to keep it for right now so you guys don't get too confused. But we do have two skeletons live stream right now. If I were to hit play, this is my girl one take, right? You can even copy takes. You can duplicate takes. Let's just say you want to smooth something out over here and you want to make a copy. Absolutely. You can select your take, optional display, and create a new take. It'll tell you, would you like to duplicate that take? So which means you'll have two of the same animation, right? Just a little tool tip. But here's one thing
that's beneficial if you want to keep your original data, but make a copy where you can sandbox and play with and not necessarily worry about destroying your original.
Absolutely. In the rigging process, we always run into issues most of the times, and I always tend to make like 2 or 3 copies of everything. So before I retarget anything, I'm just going to make a quick copy, and girl, take 003. I'm going to copy the data. So it's asking me to copy the data from the current take, right? It's take 3. I'm just going to go head to the navigator, scroll down, and just rename my take, right? And my take is take 003. Take 002 was just a simple example of how to create a take, right? So I don't necessarily need it. I can delete it, just to have a clean global organization. But let's delete and not delete. No, sorry guys. Right mouse click, rename, and I'm gonna call this one girl 1, and maybe just an underscore. And I'm just gonna type
like
RT.
V2.
No, I want to keep a girl 1 because it is the same animation, but I put an underscore and I put TRG for targeting. All right, just so that I know that this is my retargeting practice. And here's a tool that's really user-friendly, by the way, guys. And I found this learning the hard way. Not too many tutorials show this one, but I don't want to smooth out the legs for right now. But I do want to smooth out everything that's past the spine 1 joint, right? It could get nasty sometimes. And so I'm going to select just the first spine joint right here by the abdomen area. Just select this one. That's it. Not the yellow skeleton. And I'm going to go and scroll through my scenes folder right here. And I'm going to expand my selection. And here's the Mixamo rig hips. I'm going to scroll down. There are other ways to actually get to this joint if you want. You can right mouse click, hold, and expand to selection, and that will lead you to your selection inside of the navigator. And what I really want to do again is right mouse click, hold, And I would like to just select my branches. So what this does, basically, it just selects the rest of the hierarchy past the spine 1 joint, right? So everything that's on top now is going to be cleaned up in a matter of a click. And it is through the filters optional displays right here. Now, you can just select the other box right here, and we only want to clean our rotations for right now, because most of the times when we retarget stuff, it's usually based on rotations. And that's it. And I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to look for just one tool and one tool only, which is the smooth tool. Now, I want you guys to see what the differences are when you clean this up. I'm going to open the FC Curve tab. Now, this FC Curve shows you all of your, it's kind of like a graph editor in Maya. And what this shows us is basically, I'm going to select rotation X, Y, and Z. And it looks really chaotic. And we're not doing anything too complicated, by the way, guys. Nothing too techy. Just these are just the curves. This is the recording that we did right now. And I want you to take a look at the difference between now and after. So I'm going to select rotation on the filter. And through that rotation right here, I'm looking for just one tool. And I'm going to hit smooth. Once I hit smooth, I have a preview. So I can select preview, and I can actually see through my FC Curve window right now. If I hit it, it's going to smooth it out. Right? There are so many keyframes, it's kind of hard to see the difference, but it did actually smooth it out. And then I can play the animation and just to see what it looks like. And what this does, basically, it really gives you a really smooth anticipation right after you finish the take, right? Because sometimes when you record motion capture, whether it's OptiTrack or even Perception Neuron, you do end up with maybe one or a few keyframes that just pop up on your rotation or something else. This tool is very, very efficient. So hit accept, so that now you have literally cleaned up the top of your character. If I were to hit Control A again,
this is a really quick way to do a quick cleanup if somebody's wanting to see playback of what we just did, and you want it to look a little bit more crisp.
Absolutely. Before you do anything, and you want to, bake the character to a control rig. Absolutely, you just want to work with this really smooth tool. And I don't know if you can see the difference, but since we all worked in animation and rigging too for a while, I do kind of see the difference that now our hands are like a little bit smoother. And this goes on for the rest of the body. But I wouldn't touch and smooth out the legs yet, because if you smooth the legs, what this will do is they will make the leg slide. And we really want to stay away from slides for foot contact. So,
that is a really, really good insight.
Do not do the whole body at all. Just do the top body first, and then work on the small stuff after. I don't know how far. This could go on for hours.
No. I'm looking at the time, and we're just coming through an hour.
That's fine. Here, just a quick recap, just to finish this off. The takes are the most important part of the procedural steps, okay? When Daniel was live, we recorded him. And what it did, it created a take. Also, there's one thing I always forget too, the online, offline stuff. I always forget this stuff. So don't forget that as well. Turn off, be offline before you start recording. Create a take. So all you got to do is hit the record button, and that's it. You create a take. These takes are extremely powerful, and I think on a lot of tutorials, they don't show you how powerful these takes are. You can I usually end up with more than 20 to 50 takes on that optional display right here. So, and that's the really cool part. So you get to see different forms of animation, different takes through the same character. And I think that's what a lot of people want to see, if they're working in animation or something.
What's really great with these tools is that when you have a performer suited up and we're capturing live with Access Studio, you can capture with our Access software as well as capture in Motionbuilder, so that the performer can see how those movements look on the character that they're driving.
Oh, yeah.
And you're capturing both at the same time, potentially. You can also just capture the motion capture data in Access, do the processing and cleanup, and then export and import that data into Motionbuilder.
Absolutely. The cleaner, the cleaner you recorded and you can retarget it inside of the Axis software, the better it is also. But me personally, I would strongly recommend to like do everything in Motionbuilder and then send it straight to Maya after whenever you're ready to render or a game engine. And there are so many tools out there, by the way, guys. So you can do Motionbuilder Live to Unreal, even Maya Live to Unreal. So it depends on their workflow too.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we're going to be covering the live link in another one of our sessions, possibly next week, I believe. But
Okay.
Daniel, is there anything else that we want to go over real quick?
No, that's it. I think we can cover like Q&A. I definitely want to hear what users input, and so Alex, if you want to.
Yeah, we'll start answering questions just before then. Thank you so much for that, Gary. If people are interested in maybe looking at your work or possibly getting classes at the other film school, where can people find you?
I'm sorry, because my audio is really bad. So can you repeat the question?
If anyone wants to see any of the work that you're doing, maybe demo reels or possibly take classes at the LA Film School, where do you recommend they check out?
I record all my tutorials. If you guys are interested, just reach out to me. I'll give my email address, and you can look at a couple of tutorials that I record all my tutorials for the school. They are for the school, but absolutely anything that help out anyone. I do pro bono work too on the side, and I work heavily with Motionbuilder to Unreal. So and there's a tooltip if you guys are working with Maya and Motionbuilder. Do not export. Just make sure that you have both of the same versions. And guess what? You don't need to export anything. They talk to each other live, by the way. Right? So,
Gary, can you go ahead and in our chat group and send it to all of the attendees?
Yeah.
You want to put your contact information or your website so that they can reach out to you?
Absolutely. So I'm still new to Zoom, by the way, so hold on just a second.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah, well, Gary
I can't tell you anything about Motionbuilder. When it comes to Zoom, I'm just okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put. This is my personal email, by the way. So here, Ellie.
So while Gary does that, let me just ask some questions that we have in the chat and both on the Q&A. Anastasiya is asking, is there anything important to set up in the output format settings when we make a stream from Axis Neuron to Motionbuilder?
The output settings from which program are you referring to? Axis or?
No, yeah, he mentioned Axis Neuron to Motionbuilder. As long as he has the plug-in there, I think it should work. So
yeah, you just want to make sure that you're in Axis Neuron, that you're in broadcasting, you enable advanced BVH. Remember, that's the one that we use for Autodesk products, Maya and Motionbuilder.
Yeah, I think let me clarify that question actually. Download the plugin, install, close Motionbuilder, and reopen it. And it should automatically detect under devices. You should have the motion robot. If you don't have it, something's up. But you should have the motion robot in, and all you gotta do is just drag and drop it onto your panel. I think these are the three most essential steps for the plugin. It's actually not that complicated though. But if you have any issues, let me know. Or let us know.
Excellent.
I think we've got one open question where they're saying, doesn't it make more sense to apply a corrective transformation to a wonky bone while it's still being driven, as in if the data's live, rather than after all the keyframes are baked?
Was this related to the filtered option because I used rotations only?
No, this isn't the filtering. I think this is before when the character model is being marionetted by the motion capture data. The challenge with that is there's no keyframes have been baked onto the character model, so you can't make any adjustments to the character model. And there's too many keyframes in the motion capture data to be able to make any edits to the MOCAP data before you bake it to the character model. So if something doesn't look right, first check your motion capture suite to make sure that the motion capture suit is streaming data properly into the character. But you can't make any corrective transformations until after baking because there's too many keyframes in the mocap data and there's no keyframes on your character model. So I hope that answers the question.
A little tooltip too for that, even before you bake anything, if you want to test a mocap, there's an HIK example. It's just a sampled character in Maya that you can easily import, and you can test the mocap with that too. It's already a character defined and everything. So if you just want to test out the skeleton before you bake it to your customized character, absolutely, there's just an example HIK character in Maya through the HIK box. And you can test that out if you want. If you want to fix something before, you want to calibrate the character, you can do so as well. Just saying. Yeah.
Great. There's another question from Andras asking that they've been playing around with the Maya plugin. They think it's great, but currently they're asking if there's no take record as of right now. Are you from Daniel? Do you know if there's live recording inside of Maya?
No, live recording inside of Maya not yet supported. It's something that developers are working on. It's been up there for suggestions, so we hear you.
So you can see the data live. You can play around with the data live, but if you want to go ahead and record, you would actually be taking that recording on Axis Neuron or Axis Neuron Studio, right, and then bringing that into Maya afterwards.
Right.
Perfect.
Cool.
I think if you guys have any more questions, let us know. I'm skimming through the chat. I think this is getting pretty close towards the end, though, because I don't think I see any other ones. I know that Aaron was asking about the rotation of the wrist that Daniel was doing earlier when we had redone the calibration. In case you guys missed that, it was just the reason he was doing that was if the gloves are magnetized, that's an easy way to do the demagnetization procedure. Again, the larger sensors that are on the body go inside of the calibration box. We're able to rotate that really easily to identify. If the sensors on the gloves are giving you inconsistent data, that's an easy way. It's kind of like the ray rotating your wrist back and forth, and you're going to get really good data off of that. Oh, live cat on the screen.
That was not CG.
Not CG. It was showed up.
That's a real cat.
So I think is there one more?
Yeah. So
is there a Mac option?
Is there a Mac?
Someone was asking.
Yeah. So, what's the status of our Mac support for our software?
For Access Studio, at the moment, it's not available right now. It's also in suggestion box at the moment.
So currently, and I think I could get more into that and the reason why. So currently, if you're using the Perception on 32, we do have a Mac OS available. With the Pro and the Perception on Studio, we've kind of held back and put our resources more onto Windows operating. The reason for that is that we've seen that a lot of the professional 3D software does require you to consistently upgrade, and it's more supported when you're using a Mac system. It's hard to change your graphics card, or it's hard to update on something. I'm on a creative side, so I use my Mac all the time. I do things on After Effects or Premiere Pro, but when you're doing 3D work, when you have to do high rendering, and we're doing into applications like Maya, Motionbuilder, Reallution, or going into Notch for realtime, these are things that require you to adjust your graphics card or GPU and CPU on a consistent basis.
Yes.
And that's kind of the main deviation that we've gone to. So we're really trying to cater these solutions to a more professional audience. Not that people that aren't using Macs aren't professional. It's just kind of the hardware changes. The software's changed so much, right? And you want to keep up with that. So that's why currently we're Windows focused on Pro and Studio.
Okay. I had one last thing for anyone who's doing motion capture and they have like a customized rig in Maya. The HIK system does calibrate for customized controls, by the way. So if you have a character that you have rigged or that is already rigged, which means carries maybe some hair dynamics or anything like that, the HIK system absolutely calibrates it too. And it's almost as similar as the process for just a skeleton. So that's it. Yeah.
Great. Awesome, guys. I think, is that any more questions, Alex? Any more?
I think that we're clear on questions at the moment. I wanted to definitely thank everybody that came out and attended our webinar. Huge thank you to Gary for sitting in with us and helping us out with some Motionbuilder recording insights. Daniel, as always, thank you so much for suiting up and making the characters dance and providing us with all of your insight.
Yes.
Alex, anything before we go?
Just thank you so much for everyone. For those of you that are still here, just I think quick update, we'll kind of put up the next webinar link either later today, hopefully later today. And I believe that's either going to be a Unity class or an Unreal class, not like that we're going to teach you everything, but like the basics similar to like what we had today. And then we have scheduled next week, Friday, Notch, if you guys are into the live entertainment side, want to get into real-time VFX. We're going to have a special guest from Notch joining us. And that's kind of what's on the calendar for right now. Other than that, thank you guys for joining us.
If you're not familiar with what Notch is, I believe the website is notch.one, correct? Notch.one.
Yes.
So check out that software. Everybody, all last year and all the interest this year is motion capture in live performances. People are wanting to see DJs, dancers get suited up and live drive effects during concerts or when broadcasting, even in VR from home. And Notch is a very, very powerful tool that allows crazy visual effects. And our Perception Neuron Studio Suite is designed specifically to work with these guys for concerts. So I think Alex said that next Friday, we're going to be having the guest from Notch. So if you're not familiar with this software, check it out, notch.one. We'll go ahead and type it in here.
Yeah. Go ahead and check those things out. We'll definitely follow suit. Appreciate everyone joining us today. Stay safe and be well. I was going to say something and then I absolutely forgot what it was, so I'm just going to reiterate to make sure that everyone's doing well.
All right, guys.
It was a video. It was a video. Sorry. These videos are going up. I'm sorry that the other ones have been kind of slow to be posted. We're kind of reworking our landing page on the website. So if you go to mocap.com now, under the About section, there's a webinars page, as well as on the calendars that link straight to previous shows, as well as anything that's going up. And the recordings that are there, they'll be posted on YouTube, as well as being visible from our website. So didn't want to miss that. It was like, that's what I was going to talk about, and then absolutely it popped into me right now. So yes, videos will be available for you guys to check out afterwards, and we'll keep you posted on that.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. And thank you, everyone who joined us. Till next time, make sure you guys keep up, and we'll see you on the next show.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye. Cheers.